something strange is happening in Japan, Sweden, Switzerland, and the Eurozone. Official interest rates have gone below zero and are now negative. That means some people are being paid to borrow, and some loans are paid back with less than the original money that was advanced. If you think that's the economic equivalent of defying gravity, you're not alone.
Roger, we've lost data right now.
To understand negative interest rates, let's start with just interest rates. When you were a child, you were probably taught to put coins in a piggy bank. Then when the piggy was full, you would take it to an actual bank and deposit your savings. And then you were taught that the longer you left the money with the bank, the more it would grow because of interest. Without interest, why would you entrust the money to the bank? Indeed, why would you save at all? And that's how monetary policy normally works. When people save too little and spend too much, central banks raise rates to make them save more and spend less. And that stops the economy from overheating. When people save too much and spend too little, workers are left unemployed and machines run below capacity. So central banks cut rates to stop people from leaving money in the bank and tempt them to live a little instead. And that should get economic growth into gear. Now remember the global financial crisis. It was huge, one of the biggest ever, and it came after the biggest credit bubble in history. People dragged large debts with them from that boom, and the depth of the crisis drained their confidence that better times would return. So they hunkered down, cut spending, and started saving. And saving. And saving. So much that even when all the central banks in the world put rates down to virtually zero, people still didn't want to spend enough. And it didn't help that governments too got scared about their finances and tried to cut back their budgets. Thinking they had pressed the accelerator to the floor, central banks tried other things. They went on a shopping spree in the financial markets to buy securities for cash, hoping that the new cash in people's pockets would pump the economy into action. And they promised that they would keep interest rates low for a long, long time. And some of this helped, but it wasn't enough. So at some point somebody asked, if zero interest rates aren't enough, why don't we just keep cutting? Why not have negative interest rates? That somebody was probably a Swede, because Sweden went ahead and did it first. For the first time ever, anywhere, banks were charged to hold reserves with the central bank. Economists had long thought this was impossible. They believed in something they called the zero lower bound, which is just what it sounds like. They thought that as soon as interest rates went negative, children would keep their coins in their piggy banks, and adults would empty their deposits and stash the cash under the mattress instead. That pays no interest, but no interest can be a whole lot better than losing money for sure in negative interest rate charges in the bank. But the funny thing is that this hasn't happened. By 2016, a quarter of the global economy was run under negative central bank rates. But so far, no central bank has faced a massive cash withdrawal. Still, negative rates do feel like economic gravity has been suspended. It's disorientating, and central bankers are afraid to push their luck too far. And a lot of doomsayers think that negative rates will soon cause disaster. Perhaps, they say, it just takes one more rate cut to trigger a destabilizing rush for cash. Perhaps savers will react to negative rates by saving more to make up for their losses, rather than save less. Perhaps banks will find it so hard to pass their costs on to customers that they will head towards bankruptcy. All of those things could make the negative rate policy impotent or even counterproductive. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. But there is no sign of those problems yet. And against all those worries, there is a benefit for borrowers who need to set aside ever less money to service their debts. And with more disposable income as a result, they can be counted on to increase their spending. So negative rates may well stick around until the economy is in a much better place. And as central bankers get familiar with the world below zero, they may find the courage to go more negative still. What they are telling you is that they really want you to break that piggy bank and go out and spend.
How would you characterize America in 3 numbers? Here are my favorites. 40. That's the percentage of our so-called imports from Mexico that are born in the USA.